All right. So this week's message is this is an energy that's happening right now, and the message is saying that this energy ruptures. And it is such a fascinating energy about a description of what this like we are right now heading into this incredible time period of the Barbeau basket. If you haven't heard about it, I know I've been talking about it. It's this incredible astrological configuration that if you look at it, they call it a basket. If you look at it on an astrological chart, and you connect the dots, it looks like a little basket like this. And it has all kinds of phenomenal alignments that really show potential for humanity. And Andre Barbeau, the guy who kind of pointed this out, said he thought it was like the brand new, like new humanity begins. So there's been all kinds of speculation, people saying like, it's not going to be that. And other people going, oh my gosh, it's going to be that. So what is it going to be? And I think the answer is both. And so as we head into this message, one of the things that really sticks out to me is that there's energy that we've got Gemini happening with this whole thing. There's this activation of Gemini energy, and Gemini is like the split, the two faces. So this message, I think, is describing what we can expect over this as we kick off with the Barbeau energy and how it might affect us and the doorways that it can open. But it is not the same for everyone. It ruptures. So fascinating message. Super excited to go in with you. And I say, let's dive right in. Before I do, I want to make sure you guys know about the retreat coming up. I wanted to mention, you guys know I also have my book coming out. So book coming out is like literally we're publishing next Thursday. And we're going to do like a Zoom like book party, which is super exciting. Thank you for the happiness, you guys. I'm literally so excited. The cover is done. We're formatting. It is so exciting. But anybody who comes to the retreat, I wanted to mention it, bring your books, bring that book. And if you have the other books, we will, of course, I'll sign on any books you want. You can bring the dictionary and I'm happy to sign that too, but bring my books and I will sign them for you. And we will make time for that at the retreats, and it'll be really fun at the October retreat. So just to mention, if you are going to be there, bring your book. So yeah, and we will be going deep into some of the material from the book at the retreat too, which is really, really exciting. So, okay, so let's go ahead and go into the message. Are you guys ready? Take a breath and let's go ahead and share the message.
Blessings. I am here. I am with you once again. We are speaking now on terms that are familiar. We have come to know ourselves and each other. And the formulaic existence and the patterns of being that have gone before no longer apply. We are coming to terms with ourselves, yes, in so many ways. New and different ways of perceiving what it is to be alive. There are circumstances that are boundless around yourselves, energy fields that are expansive. There's a not knowingness that is pervasive and can grow or keep you separated. It can instill in your heart a sense of peaceful creation, or it can create a disturbance that ruptures and fractures. It is the essence of full acknowledgement of your own creative gifts. It is the portal that opens to show you yourselves. It is the wherewithal to speak your own nerve into existence. Do you dare to become your truth? Within this field, as it exists right now, and becoming stronger, becoming more palatable and more permeating of your experience, this field lifts and begins to divide yourselves from each other and from your own old ways of being. It is an instigation that starts you off in a new direction. It is for creating something new. But if you do not house this energy with ease, with a sense of comfort in the unknown, it can generate what it is that you would rather not experience. It is a powerful field that you are in, and it culminates through you. It comes into expression based on how you are experiencing it. I am included in this discussion. I am also engaging in this field of which we are discussing, and I shall have the choice to expand myself or to live in the contraction of my own fear. Should I choose fear? Should I choose to discover where fear can lead me? It can be creative, but not in ways I would like. And this is why it is important, as you are listening, as you are hearing what I am describing, this field of energy ruptures. It creates through rupturing, through taking things apart, separating, dividing, and increasing through the buoyancy of your own expression, that which is new. It engages you and your creative apparatus in a way that is dynamic and untried by yourselves. It gestates into the unfamiliar. It is very much my wish to encourage yourselves to become open and to let this expression happen from the perspective of ease, with the guidance that I have been sharing. From the perspective of I am all that I need. I have what I need. I am gifted what I need. I create what I need. To be at peace with who and what you are. To be in a state of acceptance where truth is an expression of your soul. And what comes next can be read upon the surface of your own skin. To be at peace with what you are. To come to terms with the gradual expression of yourself into form. To embrace your own light. This is what you are called to. This is how you are being embraced on the earth at this moment. This is a time where triumph settles and gives way to relief. I say relief because there is an angst, a thread of discontent that weaves through the human psyche. And relief is a release of what was held on to so tightly. A relief comes in the letting go of things, in the understanding that you can set things down, and in so doing, open your heart to something boundless, joyful, a brand new expression. Open yourselves to this. Worry about nothing. Have no frequency in your field that is perturbed by what has happened or what is unfolding. Allow yourself to come to peace with separation from what was. Allow yourself to embrace a dialogue within your own heart that wishes, desires to express something bold, a separation from what you've been. Become aware, I would suggest, of what thoughts are lingering in your field at this time. How might you ready yourself for no thought? How might you open yourself to express without control? To open your heart, to allow it to breathe more easily, more readily into this earth. There's a desire held firmly in the human psyche to be the masterful perpetrator of what occurs in your world, to call the shots, to hold open the doorway for your own will to thrive. And I would say that will is an empowering emotion. Will as an energy field does sustain you, but it cannot at this time draw from or through you the fullest expression of your potential in this energy field. This energy field of which I'm speaking is the result of many times past where strums of energy have radiated towards Earth and are now arriving. These atom-like particles, which are co-present with yourselves, are an energetic pulse of sorts that increase the rapidity of your rhythmic breathing, of your heart's gestures. They atomize your cells. They are inherently vibratory and increase your own vibration. Heightened states come to you more easily. You are lifted by this energy field. It will not last forever. It will not last too long, but it will impart a new freedom to you, an energetic impulse to create more freely. It will guide you toward this concept of separating from the way you were, letting go of things. This is an energy that you are ready for, that is ready for you. And there is the understanding that should you not open your field, the energy still applies, but it guides through you more of what you are expressing. Thus, fear begets more fear. Joy begets more joy. I would ask of you in these days that you are embraced by, to lift your hearts, to be of a mind and a spirit, to enjoy your lives, to lift your compass to the heavens and be stirred into expression by the greatest divinity that you can experience. Let yourselves align to the new, to the unknown, and separate from what pulls you down. Let your heart be glad. Let your heart open more easily. Have no fear that should you, for a moment, be distracted by fear. Have no worry should you pull yourself away from the new for a thought form or two. But call yourself home again. Become conscious, be aware. Be lifted in these days. Enjoy this experience. It is pleasurable to know yourselves as deeply. It is joyful to separate from what was challenge and hardship. It is energetically expansive to allow yourselves this freedom. Thus, perceive the blessing, receive the blessing, and be blessed because you choose to. I say thank you and goodbye.
Yeah, beautiful message. And yeah, I love it. And so exciting. Like, so this to me is like, this is Barbo's basket. This is what we're doing. And she's saying, if I had to put it like in a summary, that it's like a cumulative effect of energies that are like some that have come and some that are coming. It's a cumulative energies. And she describes these energies as rupturing, atomizing. And so it's like separate, it's like, it's almost like the best way I can think of it is like, so have you ever heard that when you exercise, the way that your muscles grow is by being torn apart? And so like literally, like, you're building more muscle when you have that, like the muscles are sore because you've literally torn the muscle fibers apart. And then they stitch back together, but the muscle is bigger because you've torn it and made space for new muscle fibers to grow in between. That's kind of this way I think about this, is that this energy comes in and it ruptures, it atomizes, it tears us apart, right? And from that, we can either be scared by that process, right? And be like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Things are unsettled, things are stirring, I feel this process and it freaks me out. I'm going to stop, I'm going to freeze. And that's going to then create, because she says it's a super creative energy, that's going to create more fear. Or we can say, woohoo, right? This is great. I'm building more, whatever, goodness. And that is going to create more joy. So it's really, I think the message this is super important, because she's really, what she's saying is be conscious, like super watch our thoughts. And she says, don't stress out if you notice that you're having some negative thoughts. Don't be like, oh my God, I'm going to create that. Like, no, she's like, it's okay if you veer off the path for a minute, you start noticing that you're like in a tunnel of like negativity. She's like, just be aware and call yourself back and reach for being, like, try your best to enjoy your life. And that's a nice bit of homework. Reach for your divinity, reach for joy, find ways to be positive over the coming days. And that's really it. And then be ready to let go and not dwell on whatever's falling away. So it's really like there's so much to this, but the to do, like the important to do is be happy. That's our homework. Be happy. And it doesn't mean like spiritually bypass, but even if you are in a situation where you're going through really tough stuff right now, like there is something about your life to love. It's like when I was going through my like one of my toughest divorces, like I had at one hand, I was like so uplifted because I was all of a sudden out of this really unhappy marriage. And then I was also like devastated because I no longer had the dream of the nuclear family. And I learned that, like we talked about this, I learned that I had the happy dial and the sad dial at the same time. That there's never like, if you are in a low moment, your whole life isn't like bothering you. It's like one area. So for this weekend, focus on the things where you're crushing it. Focus on the things that are going right, where you're happy, where you find joy, and let the other stuff just rest for a minute. Let it just, yeah, okay, maybe that's still true. You don't have to fix it right now. Set it aside and focus on what makes you happy. And so, all right, so I'm gonna dive right in because you guys know I got family coming, and I gotta make like a ton of food. So today is cooking day. So I'm gonna jump right in and go into the breakdown of the message. So here we are. So all right. So first paragraph, she says, "Blessings, I am here. I am with you once again. We are speaking now on terms that are familiar. We have come to know ourselves and each other, and the formulaic existence and the patterns of being that have gone before no longer apply. We are coming to terms with ourselves, yes, in so many ways, new and different ways of perceiving what it is to be alive." So here is she's talking about really sort of congratulating us on how far we've come, right? In this idea of self-love, of accepting ourselves. She's saying that we've been doing our work. Like, this is amazing that we've come so far. And she's saying that these ways of being, which were formulaic existence or patterns of being, that formulaic existence is like trying to fit in, right? To like, what does it mean to be a woman? What does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be anybody? What does it mean to be in this family? What does it mean to be a doctor? What does it mean? Whatever identity we take on and say, I have to live inside of this box. What does it mean to be successful? These are the formulas that we try to conform to. And same thing with patterns of being, family expectations, right? Well, I gotta go to the places that my family goes, and I gotta do my holidays the way my family does holidays, and all those things. So she's saying the formulas and the patterns, they no longer apply. That we are free to break all the rules, all of them. And she says, as part of accepting ourselves, of knowing that who we are truly as a soul rarely fits into any of those patterns. And she's saying we now are feeling and finding that freedom. And I say that for us as a community, but I also look out into the world, and I think it's no accident that there have been the communities that we would have said are like the oppressed communities in our world are rising. There's been so much focus on Me Too, and rights for for all different types, the Black Lives Matter, LGBTQ. I can never say it. LGBTQ. You know what I'm saying? Fill in the words. Thank you. I get tongue twister there, but you know what I'm saying. So all of them, like everybody who has felt underserved or underrepresented or repressed, or that they did not fit into the pattern or into the box, that all of a sudden it is now considered, like we are now conscious of pronouns, where that was never a thing. That is now a thing. And it is absolutely okay for someone to say, I don't like that pronoun. Please use a different one. And people have to receive that, and they have to accept that. And it's okay. And now there's a structure in society for us to say, I see. You don't like the pattern that I was sticking you in. Okay, I have to bend to make space for you. And this is, I think, so I think this idea, this is like, it's not just us. Like, it's bigger than just our spiritual communities. This is happening in humanity, and maybe more so in some countries than others, maybe more so in some places than others, but still numbers add up, and it matters that it's happening at all. So, so this is that idea that we start to accept ourselves, that people are no longer in the closet. I'm no longer in the closet as an angel lady, right? As a channel, that I'm out loud and proud doing my thing. And like, what ways are you out of the closet? What are the things that you've come clean about what you do or who you are, that you felt before that you had to keep hidden? Whatever it is. Sometimes it's simple things like, I'm a quilter. Like, what is it? What is yours? And what are the and so this is that idea of accepting ourselves and not feeling like, well, this is I have to keep this under wraps, that I, build model trains in my basement that I can't tell anybody. No, it's like accepting ourselves. So, okay, so coming to terms with ourselves, and yes, in so many ways, new and different ways of perceiving what it is to be alive, like finding our joy. So I think Mike actually does build model trains in his basement, because he's laughing a lot on that one. Give us a thumbs up, Mike, if you do actually build model trains. No, okay. He's like, no, not me. I think he knows someone who does. Okay. So there are circumstances that are boundless around yourselves, energy fields that are expansive. There's a not knowingness that is pervasive and can grow or keep you separated. It can instill in your heart a sense of peaceful creation, or it can create a disturbance that ruptures and fractures. It is the essence of full acknowledgement of your own creative gifts. It is the portal that opens to show you yourselves. It is the wherewithal to speak your own nerve into existence. Do you dare to become your truth? Ooh, I love that. I love that. Chills on that. So she's saying here, it is that this is that bifurcation, that Gemini energy that I was talking about. Is that the energy is just energy. It was like, what do you do with it is what matters. So energy comes to us, but we always have free will. It's not like this energy is going to come and like zap us and force us to change. It is energy in the same way that you eat something and it's food in your body and your body puts it to work, but the food isn't zapping you. It's just energy. So this energy, it can instill in your heart a sense of peaceful creation, or it can create a disturbance, right? And so think about that if you suddenly feel that you are coming apart like a muscle that's being stretched, you can grow from that, or you can freak out and start icing yourself and being like, oh no, what's happening to me? I want to stay the same. You can go either way. You can resist it, or you can grow with it. It is the and what I like is, so what is it doing? It is the full acknowledgement of your creative gifts. This is like where we're coming face to face with our potential, with what we can actually do. It's a portal. This time period is a portal, which is not surprising given how the astrology lines up. It's a portal that opens to show you yourself, the truth of who we are, which is divine creators. Right? It is the wherewithal, right? So, and here's the part. This is the part of the bifurcation, the choice. What does it take to embrace this energy? It takes nerve, right? It takes courage. It takes the willingness to be bold, to say, yes, I trans channel. Yes, I do crazy things, right? I chase the deer out of my yard, banging my pot lids together. Yes, I do that. Yes. So it is, be bold and embrace who you are. Next paragraph. Within this field, as it exists right now, and becoming stronger, becoming more palatable and more permeating of your existence, this field lifts and begins to divide yourselves from each other and from your old ways of being. It is an instigation that starts you off in a new direction. It is for creating something new. So, can you start to get a feel for what this energy is going to be like? Right, and how it's going to show up differently for different people, depending on, like, it's going to be up to us how it moves through us, but it is an activating energy. So we can expect some bonkers activity in the world from this, because it's like anything. You speed up, you speed up the music and things get crazy, and some people love it and some people don't, but we're speeding up the music. this field lifts and begins to divide yourselves from each other and from your old ways of being. So this is that split and separate. So, and then we begin a new direction. And then she says, but if you do not house this energy with ease, with a sense of comfort in the unknown, it can generate what it is that you would rather not experience. It is a powerful field that you are in, and it culminates through you. It comes into expression based on how you are experiencing it. And so she says this not to be in any way like no, not to be in any way fear inspiring, but to let us know that what we need to do to embrace this energy in the best way is we're not meant to, like, we might be tempted to set our mind and say, okay, I'm going to totally do so much with this energy. I'm going to go, and I'm going to do, and I'm going to build with this energy, and I'm going to just become awesome. And she's saying that's not the way. She says it's this other this other pathway, which is much more heart oriented, which is a sense of comfort. Right? It's about ease. It's about relaxing into the energy. We need to open our energy field. We are not doing this energy. This energy moves through us. And if we are constricted in any way, it's whether it be through fear or through trying to control the energy, both shut it down, both constrict the pathway through. We are trying to create or put it into a box that we design. And the idea is this energy has the most potential for us if we become, this is the mantra that the angels have been like saying since way back in 2020, again and again and again. And it's like we start to get more and more color to what this means, which is release and allow, right? It is, don't try to control it, don't be afraid of it. What's going to happen is energy moves through us if we can stop thinking about it and just allow our heart to open. What will come through us is the best of who we are. And that there is nothing more trustworthy than that, right? Your heart knows you best. Your heart knows what you want. Your heart knows what's best for you. So we open up and let it move through us is the idea. So it is with a sense of ease, a sense of comfort. So, like, what can we do to embrace this energy? Relax, find your joy, be happy, do something that makes you feel peaceful and happy and uplifted. Like, that's the homework. So then she says, and then she goes on, and I like that she brings us back to herself. And she's telling us this is not just an earth energy, this is a universe energy. Because she says, I am included in this discussion. She says, I am also engaging in this field of which we are discussing, and I shall have the choice to expand myself or to live in the contraction of my own fear. So if Isla is saying she's experiencing it, she's saying this is a universe energy, which is very exciting. So it's like a wave, probably moving through or multiple waves moving through the universe. And then she says, should I choose fear? Or should I choose to discover where fear can lead me? And I like that she leaves it open. She's not saying automatically. She's not like, duh. She's like, no, let's really talk about it. Like, what do you think? Maybe, but fear is not always bad. Fear can keep you safe. You know, like fear can be a response when it's a response to a genuine threat and you need to run quickly. Then, yeah, fear is helpful in those moments. It activates your adrenaline, right? It gets the body moving. So let's talk about it. Should she choose fear? She says it can be creative, but not in ways I would like. And she says, and this is why it is important. As you are listening, as you are hearing what I'm describing, this field of energy ruptures. So it's happening right now. And she says it creates through rupturing, through taking things apart, separating, dividing, and increasing through the buoyancy of your own expression, that which is new. It engages you in your creative apparatus in a way that is dynamic and untried by yourselves. It gestates into the unfamiliar. So this is that idea of the muscle being torn, right? It is rupturing, taking things apart, separating, dividing, increasing, right? Ripping things apart so that they can get bigger. But that it doesn't get past the ripping part, right? We don't want to just gloss over the ripping. Like there's ripping. And so some people are going to be scared by the ripping, but that's why it's like relax and understand what's really happening. This is about growth. This is about really rapid growth of expressing our creative abilities. And then she says, it is through the buoyancy of your expression. So, buoyancy, which I love that as a word, it is about the tendency to float or rise when submerged. It's the ability to recover quickly from depression or discouragement. And it's maintaining a satisfactorily high level. So think about that. It is a big field of energy that comes. When we are buoyant, it lifts us up. but it is also about our ability to recover. When you are a buoyant person, it means you can recover from discouragement. So it is that it lifts you up, and it also is about us maintaining that sense of optimism, that sense of ease and flow, and trusting, okay, well, there's something that maybe wasn't great, but I'm going to be buoyant and I'm going to recover quickly from that and trust that things are for the best. So, and maintaining that relatively high level through this period. And then she says that it is going to affect us. It engages you and your creative apparatus in a way that is dynamic and untried by yourselves. It gestates into the unfamiliar. So what that tells me is that this may push us out of our comfort zone. So that is, I think, where the fear comes in. Is this may push us into ways, even if you are like, have you ever heard people talking about like incredible experiences that happened to them that scared them because they were just so awesome? It was almost like, wow, this came through me and I can't believe it. And then they start to shut it down because just the idea of it is scary. It's scary that life moves so quickly. It's scary that they have that much ability or that much power, and they sabotage themselves, right? So it is pushing them out of a comfort zone where they're sort of like, well, this is how I define myself. And all of a sudden, like somebody who all of a sudden gets like a ton of attention for something that they did, and they shut down. They freak out. And you see it in, like, you'll see it in celebrities sometimes where they all of a sudden all this stuff happens and they feel like, who am I? And this is crazy. And they start self-sabotaging and trying to run away in different ways. So yeah, great things, but it is being aware that it's dynamic, it's untried, we've never done it before. It can create a fear response. It can push us out of our comfort zone. So, and then she says, it is very much my wish to encourage yourselves to become open and to let this expression happen from the perspective of ease with the guidance that I've been sharing. And this is like, oh, that she's over, if you look back over the last several weeks, the messages are all thematically similar, right? She's been guiding us towards now. She's been guiding us towards this idea of relax, release, allow, and this idea that this energy is going to be moving through us and how to embrace it, how to open up. She's been giving us really practical advice over the last several weeks. And then she says, from the perspective of, and this is sort of how we want to feel, that I am all that I need. I have what I need. I'm gifted what I need. I create what I need. Right. So that has, like, what I love about that, she's covered the three bases, right? The have is the belief that the world is abundant, right? I have what I need. I'm on the earth gives to me, the earth supplies me. I just have it. I don't have to chase it. I don't have to run after it. I have what I need in the moment, every moment that exists right now. And so think about this, even if you might feel that your life isn't exactly what you want right now, maybe there are worries that you're grappling with, or there's some fear about your own, how things are going to turn out. If you, in this exact moment, look around you, like you've got stuff in the cupboard, you've got the lights on, you've got power in your laptop or your iPhone, right? You're warm, you're dry, like you've got what you need in this moment. And in every moment, you have what you need. And we just worry about at some moment we won't have what we need. But in the moment, we are still alive and all our needs are met, right? So if we lived in the moment, we would say, yeah, I have what I need. Even if you're scared about what's coming down the pike right now, you've got what you need. Why would the next moment be any different? If you have always been able to create through your own expression what you need, wouldn't you continue in one way or another? Like, if it's a wild thing, I love it when I see friends of mine that I know are working through, maybe they're working through masculine energy issues or feminine energy issues or whatever it is that has maybe prevented them from reaching this a state of being where they feel really secure, right? Where they feel like they have enough, or they feel like they've met their financial needs, where they feel like maybe they're just barely getting by, or they're worried about it, or whatever it is. And when something happens and they feel like their source of security is going away, then at the last minute or whenever, right when they need it, something shows up that keeps them where they are. It helps them to stay at that level. So, and it's just like it's out of thin air. It might not be what they expected, but it keeps them where they need to be to have what they need. And they might be like, well, yeah, but I'm tired of just having what I need. I want more than what I need. And that's another issue altogether. You know what I mean? That is, how much can we embrace? How can we open our field to allow more to come through? But the point is, if you had what you need yesterday and you've had what you need your whole life, Like, and you did, arguably, because you are still alive. Otherwise, you wouldn't be alive. If you hadn't had what you need, you would be dead right now. So your whole life, you have had what you need. Why would tomorrow be any different? You have always, in one way or another, been able to create what you need. And so you are only arguing, you're trying to lobby for yourself to have a little more. You want to have more needs, right? You're like, I want to up my need request and I would like more. And that's reasonable. Yes. Why shouldn't you? Yes, do it. Yes. But the fear piece of it, throw that out because you have always had what you need. And tomorrow you will too. It just might not show up the way you expect. So, okay. I always lose my place. I get talking and I lose my place. Okay. So here we are. From the perspective of ease with the guidance and that idea that this is to be in a state, to be at peace with who you are. Where was I? Okay, yeah. So it was just that idea that okay, I am all that I need. I have what I need, which is the earth supporting me. I am gifted what I need. So this is the idea that yes, we can call on spirit. And I love it that recently I shared the story with you guys that my guides told me that they will bring me gifts. If I ask, they will bring me gifts. And I told you that was that story that I was trying to take my mom to her birthday dinner and we were in Kirkland, which is this cute little beach town, and it was busier than I've ever seen it. The parking garage that is always my fail safe had 20 cars trolling looking for a spot, and we were literally on the verge of giving up. And I thought, okay, even though mom's in the car, I'm like, angels, can you please help me get a parking spot? I did one more loop and I found the perfect spot right in front of the restaurant, which is like I was just sitting there. Like it was almost like there was nobody else in the entire city. It was just me. And the spot was just open, just waiting for me to come along. Right. It was a gift. So this idea that the earth supports me, my spirit team supports me. Right. And then the last one was that I create what I need. So it brings the power back to you and says that if you don't like what you have, create something different, that we are the creators, that we're creating our universe, creating our world. And then she says, to be at peace with who and what you are, to be in a state of acceptance where truth is an expression of your soul and what comes next can be read on the surface of your skin. Isn't that cool? The idea that literally you are the book to be read. Like, what do you want? What you're wondering what comes next? Look at yourself. You are what's coming next. Yeah. To be at peace with what you are, to come to terms with the gradual expression of yourself into form, to embrace your own light. So one thought that came up for me about this, what she said in the beginning of this paragraph, she said that it's her wish to encourage us to become open and to let this expression happen from the perspective of ease. And I thought about the idea that I often hear people talking about work and how difficult work is or what's hard about their work. And I know for myself, there'll be things that I will say, like, oh, I'm not good at this or that. There's many things that I'm not good at calendaring. I'm really bad at dates. When he's nodding, yes. Like taxes. I think about taxes and I feel heavy. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do my taxes. And I realize that when I sit down and do it, taxes aren't that hard. I just don't like doing them. And so leading up to it, I feel a ton of resistance to doing the taxes, which makes it hard. So the work itself is not hard. What's hard is me dealing with my resistance to doing the work. So it is always and only ever is our resistance that is hard. That's it. Nothing is actually hard for you. Nothing. Like there's always a way through. I recently brought home 600 pounds of rocks in the back of my car because I'm trying to fix this fountain in my front yard that's been broken for like 2 years. And 600 pounds. I'm a tiny person. You can't tell because you just see my head, but I'm tiny. I'm like a shorty, right? And 600 pounds of rocks. And I could look at that and be like, oh man, I better wait till someone shows up to help me with this. But what I did is it was these bags. I just opened up the bags and I moved them as many as I could carry. And I didn't feel like I had to lift the whole bag and do it. If I had been in resistance, I would have been like, that's too hard for me. I'm going to wait. I can't do it myself. I shouldn't even go pick up the rocks because how could I do it? And instead, I just broke them apart and carried them in loads that I could manage, and I made sure my car was as close as I could get it to that fountain. But the point is that if I had had resistance to that experience, just looking at the numbers, right, I would have felt really differently about it. So the work, it's a perspective. It's always a perspective. Can we shift our perspective to, especially in the coming days, whatever's going on for you, where you feel something's hard. If you're like, well, being happy is hard, take a look at that. That's a perspective, right? There is something in there. There's an attachment to feeling not happy, right? Is there some reason why the unhappiness is coming up for you? Is it serving you in some way? Is it giving you something? And what is it giving you? So it's this idea of where is our resistance, and to take a second look at what is hard, and then to recognize, and it's okay if you want to be like, no, I'm just going to let that be hard. Like I want to keep taxes hard because I don't want to do them. I'm going to make them so hard that I finally get someone else to do them, which is what I did. But you know what I mean, is that sometimes maybe you want to make something hard and let it be somebody else's job. But it's a question. Like, don't just do it without thinking. Make it a choice. All right. This is what you are called to. This is how you are being embraced on the earth at this moment. This is a time where triumph settles and gives way to relief. I say relief because there is an angst, a thread of discontent that weaves through the human psyche. And relief is a release of what was held onto so tightly. Relief comes in the letting go of things and the understanding that you can set things down, and in so doing, open your heart to something boundless, joyful, a brand new expression. So, this part up here where she says, this is a time where triumph settles and gives way to relief. So, this I love because this goes back to paragraph 1 where she's like, hey, you guys are doing awesome, right? You are a triumph, right? We've gotten to this point where we are now ready to receive this energy, right? We've succeeded already. So, this is a triumph. We are in a triumph. However, we are triumphant, and at the same time, there is this thread of discontent that weaves through humanity. And we know it, right? We're aware of the thread of discontent, how easy it is to slip into discontent. And it is part of the human psyche. And she says that this is where to focus, that triumph settles, right? So we can now pat ourselves on the back and say, yay, we did it. Now let that settle. Great, fantastic. Let's celebrate, let it settle, and let that give way to a sense of relief. And the relief comes in from the release of what was held on to so tightly, from the letting go of things. So whatever it is that we are ready to release, it's like congratulate ourselves. And then just, it's really like what we're trying our best to do is open our field as much as we possibly can, which is by not controlling and not being afraid. And it all comes back to that. And it's really about trying to be content, trying to be in a place of, and being content doesn't mean like we don't have to like the things we don't like. It just means that we find our resistance and we unplug it. And we understand that when we let go of the resistance, what we are doing is we are opening up our energy field to create something better. When we are in resistance, we're just holding on to the thing we don't like. So it is set it down, relief, let it go, right? That's the idea. And then when we do, we open our heart to something boundless, joyful, a brand new expression. Then she says, open yourselves to this. Worry about nothing. Have no frequency in your field that is perturbed by what has happened or what is unfolding. Allow yourself to come to peace with separation from what was. And so if there's things that happen in this time frame that are upsetting, and I understand that if you are directly affected, if there's some sort of a disaster and you are directly affected, this is not the recommendation to do spiritual bypassing and to just be like, I'm so happy my house is burning. Like, we're not meant to do that. It's not like, it is like, have your moment of grief, have your, like, feel the feels. If you're in it, like, have your grief. But the idea is that to always look for the phoenix rising from the ashes, that even in the worst catastrophe, when something falls apart, it frees up energy immediately that is then put into the creation of something new. And so if something happens in your life or something you were counting on or something that's been a part of your life for a long time, and if it suddenly falls away, recognize, wow, a ton of energy just opened up. Where's it taking me? Like, what is this in service of? Where am I being brought to? And follow that, like a little bloodhound. Like, notice, okay, this energy is in wave. I'm going to catch that wave and I'm going to rise with that wave, and I'm going to process my grief. You can have the happy dial and the sad dial at the same time. You can have the grief about what you lost, but turn the happy dial up to 11 and say, where are we going? Where is this taking me? I have all this new freedom. that's going to guide me somewhere else. So she says, allow yourself to embrace a dialogue within your own heart that wishes, desires to express something bold, a separation from where you've been. So this takes courage. There's no question that however this fall shows up in your own life, it takes a lot of courage for us to step out, whether it be stepping out from relationships, stepping out from a living situation, stepping out from work, stepping out from an identity, and putting yourself out there in a new way. It is work. And so it takes courage and boldness to do it. So, and so she's encouraging us to do that. And then she says, become aware, I would suggest, of what thoughts are lingering in your field at this time. How might you ready yourself for no thought? How might you open yourself to express without control? To open your heart, to allow it to breathe more easily, more readily into this earth. So, and this idea of no thought, this is something that I've been working on recently, which is that my guides have told me to stop talking to myself, which is, I know that sounds weird, but I talk to myself a lot. I'm like my own companion, and I will like, yeah, you too. Yeah. I will go about my day, and I just have like a running little conversation with myself. And it's like, and I just always done it. And that my guides are telling me to stop doing it and to start listening instead, and I have been enjoying that. It's hard, right? And I find like I kind of miss myself. I kind of miss my little conversation. This morning, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna talk to myself for a half hour, like 1/2 hour, and and then I'll go back to listening. But but it is having no thought, right? And to express without control. And so the thing, it makes sense if I'm always talking, then I'm less receptive to what they are saying, right? They're listening to me all the time because I'm blah, 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 blah. I need to like just listen sometimes. And then I'm in the negotiating phase right now. Like, how much can I talk to myself? How much do I need to listen? So we're working that out. But we need to open our heart, allow it to breathe more easily, more readily into this earth. There is a desire held firmly in the human psyche to be the masterful perpetrator of what occurs in your world, to call the shots, to hold the door, open the doorway for your own will to thrive. And I would say that that will is an empowering emotion. Will, as an energy field, does sustain you, but it cannot at this time draw from or through you the fullest expression of your potential in this energy field. And I like that she addresses this idea, that the idea that we are taught from a very young age, like one of the most exciting things that happens, I don't know if it's like age 2 or 18 months. Like any of you guys that are child development specialists will know, what is the age that a child learns when they push a button, something happens, the cause and effect. And like you think about every kid, like if you have 2 kids who grew up as siblings, and the fight over who gets to push the elevator button, right? Like that is like war in the families. Like who pushed it last time, right? Who pushed the button last time? That's always the conversation. I pushed it, like she pushed it last time. But the point is that we fall in love with the idea that we push a button and something happens, and we do it from a very young age, and throughout our life we have this inner thrill that comes up when we push a button and something happens because we made it happen. I did that. Look at me. I'm creative, right? I made the elevator close. Wow. And so this idea that we like to call the shots. We want to be the masterful perpetrator of what occurs in this world, right? And to hold open the door for what we want to come through, right? That is for sure. Like when we think about like the titans of industry, we think, wow, that's them. Like the world is at their beck and call. And she's saying that will is empowering. Like it is an amazing feeling when you realize I took an action and I created a thing. I created a result. I made that happen. It is, yeah, it's thrilling when that happens. But she says that it will sustains us. Like the will to live is what keeps us alive. But she says, but it is not your peak as a creator, like at all. She says that is the journey of here. If we can move down to here, this is when we really start to reach the peak of our creative ability. And will has nothing to do with it. It has everything to do with our ability to open and to flow and to let this energy move through us and let the whole container, or the whole of us, create, not just our will. And so then she says, this energy field of which I'm speaking is the result of many times past, where energies have radiated towards Earth and are now arriving. These atom like particles, which are co present with yourselves, are an energetic pulse of sorts that increase the rapidity of your rhythmic breathing, of your heart's gestures. They atomize yourselves. They are inherently vibratory and increase your own vibration. So super interesting. And I would just wanted to add, it occurred to me as I was reading this, that if there's parts of these messages where you guys get a different hit, I don't have all the answers. So if you get something more, if you get pieces from this that I missed, share it. Like, tell us, let us know, because I don't have all the answers. And some of you guys, sometimes you pick stuff up that I miss, and it's awesome. So yeah, so don't think just because, yes, I channeled it, but I have my limits. And like, I do my best. I spend time with it, but there's always stuff I miss. So if you guys catch stuff, or if you get meaning from this that I didn't, like, yeah, share it with us. Put it in the comments, especially on the YouTube comments, because then it opens up to the whole community, the broad audience, and everybody can see, see and add to the conversation. So I just add that because as I was, anyways, it just hit me as I was reading this part of it, because we might have different interpretations of this. So what she's saying is the energy field is the result of many times past where energies have radiated towards Earth and are now arriving. So when I first read this, what hit me was it's a cumulative effect that energies have been coming to the planet. But then as I read it just now, the thing that popped into my head, which is that there may have been other periods of time that were completely separated from this one, where waves of energy hit the planet and created a shift of consciousness. So, and that I hadn't considered that the first time I read it. The first time I read it, I thought, oh, she's just talking about this time. And it is the result of many times past where energies have radiated toward Earth and are now arriving. So I thought, okay, that means it's cumulative right now, that there's multiple waves. But then I realized, well, wait a minute, that could also, and it could be both. It could be both meanings, that this is not the first shift of consciousness that Earth have experienced, that there could have been other, and very likely other shifts of consciousness that were brought on by waves of energy. So then she says, these atom, like atom, atom like particles, which are co present with your cells. And it's really funny because I keep getting the image right now as I'm reading that of ADAM, like atom, like beginning of humanity, like new, uh, uh, like creation principles is the words that they're putting into my mind. That it's like, what does the symbol of atom mean to you? That's what's coming into my mind. This symbolically, the Adam and Eve story. What does it mean to you? An atom like particle, a creator, like a new beginning, right? An origin story. And so that's I guess what I'm trying to get at, an origin story particle. So, but it is also, she says, an atom like particle. But they're putting a lot of images in my mind right now. Atom-like particles, which are co-present with yourselves, are an energetic pulse of sorts. So this energy field, and she mentions that we might find that we are breathing faster, or that our hearts are racing a bit more, that our hearts speed up. So we might feel a certain amount of excitement at times. Then she says they atomize yourselves. They are inherently vibratory and increase your own vibration. So, however, you tend to experience an increase in vibration, I experience it often as pressure, physical pressure. Like when the angels came in, when the first time they came in, it felt like a ton of bricks. That it was like they were sitting on me. It was so heavy. And that's just the difference in frequency from what my frequency was. Now I can tolerate it without any pain, which is awesome. But back then it was so much pressure. And so that's how I perceive it. But some people feel it differently. They experience that idea of the high frequencies differently. So just be conscious. And it makes sense that some people might experience it as a little breathlessness, or as like maybe fluttering, or like the feeling of being excited, heart racing. Those could happen. So, but this idea of the to be atomized. What does it mean to be atomized? They atomize yourself. This gets to that idea of the Gemini energy again. To atomize something is to break it into fragments or particles, going back to the word that she used in the beginning of rupture. That the tearing apart, it atomizes, it pulls apart, like the muscle being pulled and torn, so that it can grow and that new fibers can come in and expand it. So this energy atomizes us on a level. It's almost like, imagine that you are made up of teeny tiny particles. And we know that that's true, that if you looked inside our body, that you would see a ton of space between like the molecules of the body. That, like, we are mostly space. It's just that we are more dense than the air around us, but still in our body there's more space than anything else between the little molecules. So imagine if that space suddenly expanded a little bit, right? It got bigger. And so it's like being atomized, where things are being slowly like breaking apart, fragmenting, being expanded through this experience of rupture. That if there's something that was being held in place, it's being ruptured to make space for growth. And they increase our vibration. So another way to think about this, like if you've ever seen, I one time I bought a Chladni. If you ever heard of a Chladni plate, any science teachers in the group will know what I'm talking about. Yeah, thank you, Judith. So a Chladni plate is it's like a metal plate, and you run sound frequencies into it, and you put sand on top. And when you run the vibrations of a particular tone, the sand starts to vibrate and bounce and dance on the surface. And you can tune it into specific frequencies, and it will literally, the sand will move into geometric shapes, and it is incredible to see. It's so fun. That's why I bought it. I had to have it. I'm like, that's so amazing, because it is the ultimate example of thoughts creating things, right? That frequency generates form is what it is. As you all you do is you play a frequency on this plate, and boom, form is created. And you can see it. And so say you turn it on. I should have had actually I gave it to a science teacher, so I don't have it anymore. My neighbor is a school teacher, and so she brought it in, and in her school the teachers were like bonkers for it. It was so fun. But anyways, uh when you turn it on and you turn it to a particular tune, you can also play it with like a violin bow. If you run the bow along the plate, it'll make the particles dance, which is super fun. But you can turn it on, and so you turn a particular tune, and then the particles will start to dance, and they will separate, right? Atomize. So it's like think about this, that they're bouncing, right? The frequency is lifting and making them dance, and they atomize, they pull apart from where they were before, and then they settle into the frequency, the shape or the design that matches that frequency. And seriously, Google this. You will be amazed at the beauty of the patterns that emerge for each tone. It is so gorgeous. So, but then here's what's cool. So they settle into that form, and they're still kind of vibrating, but they're holding the pattern of that sound. And then if you stop the sound, they'll stay there. But if you change the frequency, they will all of a sudden start atomizing again. They will come up, and they will aerate, and they become like dancing, and they move to the new shape of that new tone. So it is incredible. And it is like, what a way to show someone that vibration, right, creates form. So anyways, yeah, and thoughts, vibration, feelings, emotions is generative. It actually creates form. So anyways, my point being, and where was I? I get so excited sometimes. That Where was I, you guys? Someone point to my thing right here. So this energetic improvement, it will guide you toward this concept of separating, and the idea that we are breaking apart into fractures. Yeah, in rupturing. So letting go of things. So this is the idea that your energy can raise. So think of it like the sand particles. Like that may be what our experience is like, is that maybe not quite as high, like, but there might be this feeling that we're kind of bouncing inside, and that things are rearranging into a new form, and we can fight it or we can flow with it. All right. This is an energy that you are ready for, that is ready for you. And by the way, if you want to know, Chladni is like Chladni or something like that. It's named after a guy, Chladni. So yeah, is that right, Judith? Did I spell it right? Okay, thank you, Chladni. Chladni. Okay, cool. If you want to Google it. This is an energy that you are ready for, that is ready for you. And there is the understanding that should you not open your field, the energy still applies, but it guides through you more of what you are expressing. Thus, fear begets more fear, joy begets more joy. And so she repeats herself here. When things come through like that, like they stack like not like three words in a row, it's when I'm channeling, it's because it's almost like her energy gets a little bit like there's a little bit more emotion or feeling in what she's saying, and the energy is come it's almost like they're like the record is skipping, like it's like my system can't quite handle, and so it comes through like staccato like that, like three words as opposed to one. So that's, you can kind of tell there's a little bit of like a, she really wants us to hear this is what's going on. She wants us to be like, should you not do this, like be aware, if we don't do this, if we don't, and she's not telling us we have to, but she just wants us to know what's at stake. And I just lost it again. I can keep my finger on my spot. Should you not open your field, the energy still applies, but it guides you through more of what you are expressing. So fear begets more fear, joy begets more joy. So it really, whatever we are in that moment, it expands, right? Which makes sense. Whatever. So we get to, it's like we are the song, and then this is going to come in and create more space and make that song louder. And so be conscious over the coming days, weeks, months, even. Try your best to be conscious of what song you're playing in your mind, and then not to freak out if you notice that you're in a moment and you're having some negativity come through, because everyone does. We go through hard things, but to allow yourself, if you do, be conscious of it, be present to your feelings, feel your feelings, be generous and compassionate with yourself, and then do your best to call yourself back into your higher state. um then she goes on to say, I would ask of you in these days that you are embraced by, to lift your hearts, to be of a mind and a spirit, to enjoy your lives, to lift your compass to the heavens and be stirred into expression by the greatest divinity that you can experience. Let yourselves align to the new, to the unknown, and separate from what pulls you down. Let your heart be glad. Let your heart open more easily. And I really like in this that she said, in these days that you are embraced by, right? She's saying that this is for all of us, right? That these days love us. Like this is a loving experience that we're going through, that we are being embraced by this experience. So this isn't a thing where we have to fear it. It's literally like this is here to support, to help us grow. We are being embraced by these days. And so it's really trying to let our heart be glad, enjoy our lives however you can. And so that's what I'm trying to say. If there that all of us have something in our lives that brings us joy, and so make space for that joy right now. And you'll be doing yourself a lot if you do that. Reach for the joy. And then she says, have no fear that should you for a moment be distracted by fear. Have no worry should you pull yourself away from the new for a thought form or two. But call yourself home again. Become conscious, be aware. So it's that idea that you don't have to be perfect. If you suddenly find yourself, feeling super negative or whatever, just notice it. And then, maybe spend time with it and then call yourself back home. All right. Then she says, be lifted in these days. Enjoy this experience. It is pleasurable to know yourselves this deeply. It is joyful to separate from what was challenge and what was hardship. It is energetically expansive to allow yourselves this freedom. Thus, perceive the blessing, receive the blessing, and be blessed because you choose to. I love that. Love that. And she says, thank you and goodbye. So awesome. What a message. What a super, super cool message. And what a great way to understand Barbo's basket. Like this energy that we're moving into. I was super curious. You bet I was waiting to find out. Like I was waiting to see what she would say or what the angels would say about Barbo's basket. Because and everyone's, all the astrologers, if you're on YouTube, and everyone's talking about it and speculating, thinking about what it could be. And yes, and people are saying, oh, it could be, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, it's not going to be one big moment of shift. Of course not. Like it's an ongoing process, but certainly there will be moments we can point to and say that was a big one. Sort of like in history, we can say it's not that everything happened at once, but there was such a thing as COVID, right? 2020 was a doozy. Like that happened. I have this photo of myself from back in that time that makes me laugh, where I was shopping at Nordstrom's Rack and I found this t-shirt at the end of 2020, and it said, it was a t-shirt they clearly had made before 2020, and it said best year ever. It is on the sale rack, like the clearance, like nobody wanted that t-shirt. I'm like, oh, somebody made a losing bet on that t-shirt. It's so good. But yeah, so I think it's really, this message is super, super encouraging, that that it's in reach for all of us, that no matter where we are, even if you're listening to this and you've only recently gotten on your journey, like even if, or if you have somebody that you're sharing this message with who is new to their journey, doesn't matter, right? We do not have to enter into this shift from a place of perfection. We don't have to enter into it from a place of having dealt with all of our stuff. We can still experience a shift to the better, right? That we can still let go of things. These energies are helping us do it. And so all we got to do, super simple prescription, right, is reach for our joy, be conscious of our negative thoughts, do our best to be compassionate and loving to ourselves, and to try to express ourselves. Be bold with your self-expression. Be willing to be who you are, to say what you think, to say what you feel, to be whatever, whoever, however. There's no rules anymore, right? The rules have been shattered. There's no boxes we have to fit in. Anybody who tries to stick you in a box anymore is old school. Right? Like these days you get to be whoever the heck you want to be. And that's fun. It's really fun. Think about how fun it is to be around someone who just embraces who they are, who's just like, yep, these are my quirky hobbies. These are the crazy things I do. These are the people I like to hang out with. Awesome. It makes you interesting. It makes you fun to know. It stretches all of us. It grows all of us. So yeah, it's a good thing. All right, you guys, I got to do some cooking. I'm thinking of making all kinds of stuff. I'm excited. I'm so excited for my family to come. They haven't, like, lots of them haven't seen like all the fountain. I think my 600-pound of stone fountain in the front yard, all the things, but really it's just getting everybody here. I will share with you. It is so much fun. Last time I had the whole family here, my moment of like my greatest joy was everybody was just doing their thing. And like my daughter was sitting on the deck, she's lounging on the sofa reading her book, which is like totally her. And my dad was wandering around like grazing, just like snacking on the grapes and snacking on the this. And he was loving it. My dad was a farmer early in his life, and then couldn't be a farmer because he hurt his back. And so coming here where I have all this food growing is like he just loves to run around and like look at everything and try everything. And he just was in seventh heaven. And then my daughter's boyfriend, who's like a machine of doing, and he's little, like 6'7", he's giant. And I mean, like I will have like these chores. I'll be like, I have to move these things, and he picks them up like they're toothpicks, and he's like, I'll take them over here for you. It's just incredible. And he's like an Eagle Scout, so he loves to be helpful. So he was there helping me. We were working on something and making progress, and like everybody was like doing their thing and in total joy doing their thing. And I just kind of looked around for a minute and I was like, this is the best moment of this whole visit, because everybody was just being themselves. And I felt like I was really happy to have created a space where that was possible. That I think about that. I think about everybody coming. I'm like, oh, I really love that. I'm not going to come into it with any expectations, but I want to leave the door open for people to just do whatever they want to do. And I'm just excited to see everybody. And I'm going to make a ton of food that goes along with this 6'7" boyfriend. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna go. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here. And those of you in our Soul Society, join me now for our weekly car wash. Very excited for it. So otherwise, thank you very, very much for sharing the message with me. I'm sending you tons of love and blessings, and I'll see you next Friday live. Bye, you guys.